From the JAMA Network, this is the JAMA Medical News Podcast, discussing timely topics in clinical medicine, biomedical sciences, public health, and health policy, featured in the medical news section of JAMA.
On today's show, we're discussing the health implications of recent changes to U.S. Environmental Protection Agency rules for power plant emissions. I'm Kate Schweitzer, Associate Managing Editor of JAMA Medical News. Staff writer Samantha Anderer is here to tell us about the news. Sammy, thanks for joining.
Thanks, Kate.
So the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency has taken steps to remove certain regulatory measures that will affect what's released into the air from power plants. Tell us more.
Right. In February, the EPA rolled back regulations that limit hazardous air pollutants emitted from coal-fired power plants, including mercury and other heavy metals. The agency originally placed limits on these compounds back in 2012 with the Mercury and Air Toxic Standards, or MATS, rule. And after power plants subsequently stepped up pollution control methods, emissions of mercury and other toxic compounds drastically decreased. And while that was certainly an improvement, when it comes to mercury, which is a potent neurotoxin that can affect the brain and nervous system, an expert I spoke with said it's unclear that any amount of it can be considered safe. Other heavy metals released from these power plants, including cadmium, chromium, lead, and nickel, are also associated with a variety of adverse health effects at low levels. So in 2024, the EPA strengthened the MATS rule by issuing amendments. One amendment closed a loophole that had allowed plants burning the lowest grade coal to emit more mercury. The others tightened standards for non-mercury hazardous air pollutants and required more stringent emissions monitoring. But the EPA has now repealed the 2024 MATS amendments, thereby reverting to the looser 2012 rules.
So what prompted this decision, and what do the experts you spoke to have to say about it?
So, an EPA spokesperson told us that the regulatory rollbacks will, quote, ensure public health and the environment are protected without compromising America's energy or economic prosperity, end quote. But as I mentioned, even small doses of mercury may cause chronic impairment, especially during fetal development. Prenatal mercury exposure has been linked with adverse effects on cognitive function, memory, and attention. And in adulthood, mercury exposure has been associated with increased risks of ischemic heart disease and premature cardiovascular mortality. Dr. Mary Rice, the director of the Center for Climate, Health, and the Global Environment at Harvard School of Public Health, explained to me that this type of air pollution can cause acute physiologic responses, triggering inflammation, airway constriction, blood clotting, and cardiac stress. Other experts warn that the MATS rollbacks signal a larger shift towards deregulation that threatens health protections.
And this wasn't the only EPA rollback, right?
There were quite a few. In mid-February, the EPA revealed the 2009 greenhouse gas endangerment finding that set emissions limits on vehicles. The agency is also attempting to pull back regulations on per- and polyfluoroalkyl substances, also known as PFAS. These are so-called forever chemicals found in drinking water. And the EPA no longer plans to consider the value of statistical life when setting limits on fine particulate matter and ozone, some of the most widespread air pollutants. This metric has been used for decades in cost-benefit analyses to determine the value of new regulations, allowing for the implementation of pollution controls that companies would otherwise deem too expensive. And the sources I spoke with emphasized that air pollution-related health problems are very costly, both to individuals and society. Dr. Vijay Lemay, a climate and health scientist at the Natural Resources Defense Council, who used to work for the EPA, noted that as much as clinicians want to promote exercise and healthy diets, the broader environment is also a huge determinant of health.
Thanks, Sammy. Okay, if you'd like to learn more, we'll include a link to Sammy's story in the show description. This week, we also published a story on a pilot clinical trial of lithium for slowing mild cognitive impairment. You can find that and all of our stories at jamamedicalnews.com. Thanks to Samantha Anderer for joining me. I'm Kate Schweitzer for JAMA Medical News. This episode was produced by Daniel Morrow at the JAMA Network. To follow this and other JAMA Network podcasts, please visit us online at jamanetworkaudio.com. Thanks for listening, and join us again next week.
This content is protected by copyright by the American Medical Association with all rights reserved, including those for text and data mining, AI training, and similar technologies.